Hi, I'm Charles. Welcome to Onomatopoetix. This episode is about force perspective and tilt focus. In the last episode, we dealt with time, the fourth dimension, as a way to manipulate the other three. In this episode, we are firmly rooted in the three dimensions. Force perspective, as you may be familiar, is a way of fooling the eye using perspective to make objects look like they're different sizes. As we see in this opening segment, a scale model of a motorcycle, this one in 12th scale, is made to look real, actual size, and this is done through placing the camera the correct distance from the object and at the right angle to make it look correct with the background, and then multiplying that times the scale of the model and interacting with it in the background. So in other words, this 12th scale motorcycle, and the camera is 2 feet away, so 24 inches. You multiply that by the 12 and you end up with a distance of 24 feet. So when you appear 24 feet away, you look correct size for the model. As I chose for my foreground objects various cars and motorcycles, I needed a scale road for them to sit on, and I created this using a piece of gypboard that I had, some spray glue, some sand, and ultimately some spray paint to make it look like tarmac. And you can see the result here. The idea for this episode was to marry tilt focus and force perspective and use force perspective to make scale models look life-size and use tilt focus to make life-size objects look like scale models. There are professional-grade tilt-shift lenses on the market. They are rather expensive, and as they are a specialty use, I decided to go with a cheaper solution. The way a tilt-shift lens works is by manipulating the angle of the image plane or film and the focus plane. And it literally does this. In a shift function, it does this. I chose a cheaper solution, and that is the Lensbaby Composer II with a sweet 50 lens on it. And what this does is essentially allows you to shift that plane and create various focus effects while keeping part of the image sharp. There are many effects you can get using a tilt focus lens. Not all of them are exclusively for making objects look like an HO scale train set. You can get extreme selective focus effects, which can be quite beautiful. You can use it in motion, and for instance, if you use it in a car, you can get a very distinctive drunk feel. I came by my love for scale models naturally. My father was a military historian by hobby and has written 13 or 14 books on armament of World War II, and spent a large portion of his life making models. Models of different scales, models of different types of things, and there are hundreds of examples around the house where I grew up. My father built and collected ships, planes, tanks, cars, mainly from World War II onward, although there were some World War I objects in there as well. He built German tanks, Russian tanks, American tanks, English tanks, French tanks, Japanese tanks, Italian tanks. and planes from just about every Air Force as well. He collected cars at different scales from different periods. When I say he collected cars, he collected a lot of cars. Some of the cars and motorcycles that he collected I'm using for this video. One of the greatest modeling achievements that we did growing up was the creation of a permanent HO scale train set in our attic. Here's a 8mm film I shot back in the 80s when the train set was in full operation. Here you see it in the state it is in today, after many years of disuse and neglect, as well as workmen installing a new roof above it, causing a lot of things to fall from the ceiling onto the track. In many of past episodes, I've started by selecting the music first, reacting to how it should look, and finding techniques that are appropriate to achieve that look. In this case, I knew the technique I wanted to use, and it took me a while to find music that I thought was appropriate. Marrying these techniques with the soundtrack was a little bit different in this episode than it is in others. And I know there are people that may say, this really doesn't look like it sounds. It's a subjective thing, I get it. In this case, I think I achieved it, but it may not be as strong as connection as it has been in some of the videos in the past. In any case, here's the visualization. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe. See you again real soon.